the markets are not efficient. Hey, it's Walter here, and you're at the Think Profit podcast, where we're going to help you develop a rock-solid trading confidence and avoid the potentially endless cycle of system switching. Right, Hugh?
That's right. We're going to help you develop a wealth mindset, develop a trading strategy that fits your core personality, and help you overcome the obstacles that stop over 90% of traders.
All right, Hugh, sounds good. You ready to go?
Yeah, let's do this.
Hey, Hugh. So I have this question. A trader asked me something. He said, if the markets are efficient, then how is it possible to make money trading? Okay. So that's the question. Now, my answer to that is the markets are not efficient. In fact, they rarely are efficient. And this idea is very common in academia. You will have these professors who do not trade, do not make money trading, and frankly, don't understand the markets, come up with all these equations about why the markets are efficient and why it's impossible to make any money, and that the price is just a random walk and this and that, all these theories, right? And I this is my belief. And I learned this from my mentor. Or one of my mentors, right? My belief is that the markets are rarely efficient. And you know why? Because we have people who have gobs and gobs of money. So what that means is those people probably went down one of two paths. Either they had information that wasn't widely available to everyone else. I'm talking about you, Nancy Pelosi's husband. Or, right, you guys know the story about how the senators have outperformed all the hedge fund managers and stuff like that. Yeah. And Nancy Pelosi's husband's made this amazing track record. Actually, there's an app now where you can copy the trades of the senator.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was brilliant. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Coolest app I've seen since the one that tells you when to go and do a pee in the middle of a movie. That was a cool app too. But anyway, the idea is that if the markets were efficient, then you would always pay the right price, right? Mm-hmm. The price that you paid at that point would be the right price. There'd be you wouldn't get any value, you wouldn't get any discount, or nothing. It's just the right price. Okay. If that were the case, it would be nobody would be able to accumulate big piles of money, but some people are. So either they have information that other people don't have, or they're crunching the available information in a certain way, which is what indicators do on our charts, right? They crunch the available information, high, low, close, open, not open, close, high, low, all that stuff, right? In a certain way, and they analyze it in a dispassionate, non-emotional way, so that they can buy when they should and sell when they should, right? Mm-hmm. And away from emotions, away from fear and greed, right? So that's basically it. I mean, that's the way I see it, is that the markets are not efficient. If they were efficient, we wouldn't see billionaires. That would be nearly impossible to come up with, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because think about it, if you think about it in a broad sense, even people who come up with really cool inventions like Velcro or whatever, if the markets were efficient, there would be a lot of people, many, many people coming up with the idea of Velcro at the same time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, but I think I heard that Velcro came from the U.S. Defense Department, whether it was the Air Force or something like that. So someone in there created it. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true, but that's the idea. The idea is that if you have information that the broad market doesn't have, then there's an inefficiency there, and there's an ability for you to make money, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where stock tips come in, and people talk about that. Or if there's a way that you can take that information and quantitatively crunch it so that you get an edge, an advantage. And really that's what technical trading is in many ways, is when we look at patterns, when we look at MACDs, stochastics, moving averages, whatever, RSI, you're just taking the information, you're crunching it in a certain way and trying to come up with really good decisions based on, that information. So to me, the markets are not efficient. If they were efficient, I wouldn't be a trader. Trading wouldn't really exist as a career, because it'd be nearly impossible to do anything. You'd just always be getting fair value. Mm-hmm. And so the problem is people get in the way. emotions get away, people get really fearful and they get really greedy. And so there's this gap, and there's gaps in information. Like, for example, you may have been in a situation where like you sold something, right? And you couldn't believe that someone paid you as much as they did for that thing. Maybe it was something you were going to throw away, right? So for you, your perceived value of that was really low, but the person who bought it, like an old rusty bike that you're going to just throw away or whatever, or give away or something, leave it outside and hope someone takes it. That's what they do here in Australia. They just put it outside. They just put it outside their house and hope someone takes it, right? Like people do that, right? Yeah. So, but if it's really valuable to the other person, they overpay for it. So as in a specific sense, if you're a trader, you love those people, right? These are the beginner traders who overpay or underpay. They overpay for the euro, and then you go in and take the other side. So these are the people that you're taking their money from their accounts and you're transferring it into your account because they don't understand, right? Mm-hmm. So you need those, and those people need to learn those lessons. Either they need to learn to get out of trading or need to learn how to trade properly, right? So that's how I look at it, and I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that, because this is a really, a lot of people have strong opinions about whether or not the markets are efficient or whether they're giving us, the prices are the real true prices or not.
Yeah. So 2 thoughts came to my mind. Number one, don't trust anything anybody says. And if somebody says something, look for evidence of the opposite. So like what you're saying is that look for evidence that traders make money in an inefficient market. And that's obviously true, because Wall Street would not exist if traders could not make money. So obviously that hypothesis is not true. The second thing is, when you look at markets on the surface, like you said, it should be logical, right? This is in your best interest, so let's do this. But people are emotional, and you have to factor that in. And if people, like you said, don't have certain information, or they're in a certain situation where they can't do a certain thing because of something underlying, for example, like houses, right? Like I used to buy and sell houses. So people always wonder, a buddy asked me, why would somebody sell the house to you for way less than what they bought it for? Well, maybe they need to move. Maybe they are having a tough divorce and they just need the money. Maybe they like you and they want to deal with you instead of somebody else, right? So there are all these factors that can come into play. And a lot of that is emotional baggage, emotional connections. So same thing with trading. Like people can get emotionally attached to a stock. People are dispassionate and they don't get emotionally attached. So that's why they do better. But, all these things can come into play. So I think that this idea that the market is totally efficient is, of course, ridiculous. And you should evaluate every single idea on those premises of, is there evidence to the opposite? And what are the other factors that are involved with this transaction?
Yeah, it's true. And I was just thinking about something when you're saying that. When I sold my car when I left my country to come to Australia, and I knew that the price I put it at was low enough that I would sell it in a day. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I kind of used that. I knew that the market would pay more for the truck, but I sold the truck at that price because what I wanted to do was drive the truck as much as I could until the day I had to leave. So I literally wanted to sell the car the day I had to leave. Mm-hmm. And I did it. And so what happened was I put the ad in the paper or whatever, and all these people called me. Like I got all these calls because no one could believe that price, right? And so I had all these lined up. I said, okay, you can come at 12. All right, you come at 12:30. You come at 1. I had all these calls lined up because I knew someone. And then, what happened was a guy called me and I said, I've got all these things booked out, to see the car. Do you want to come at 5? You know what I mean? Like the other 10 slots are booked out. And he goes, what time are you going to be there? I go at 12 at the park. He goes, I'll be there at 11:30. And then he bought the car. You know what I mean? Like he was the first one to see it and he bought it. And I said, look, I'm going to give, here's the pink slip or whatever, in a week, I'm going to, we'll make the transaction. Right. But you know what I mean? Like, it was like that. It was so funny. And then all these people called me and they were really upset at me. They're like yelling at me on my messages, saying, whoa, you're so rude. Yeah, I can't believe you did this to me and stuff like that. So, but that is a great example of, understanding the market and like using that to your advantage. So by just like you were saying, like if your buddy's selling the house really cheaply and people are like, why would you do that? You're leaving money on the table. There's always reasons why, you know what I mean? Either you're stupid and you don't understand the market, or it could be like you just want to drop it really quickly. And we understand that intuitively when we're selling things like couches and stuff, right? Or cars and stuff. But when you think about trading the markets, it's the same thing. We just have to keep that in mind, I guess. You know what I mean? Like that's the same thing that's going on. And I love what you said about it, because if you're thinking about what other traders are doing on the opposite side of your trade, then you're in a really good spot as a trader, because there's two reasons. One is you understand that what you believe may not be right. Okay, you may be wrong. All right, for a number of reasons. And being early is the same as being wrong, right? And the other thing is you're questioning so you understand what other people are saying and what they're thinking, and then you're questioning whether or not what you believe is correct. And so you're trying to coordinate your theory with evidence, right? And I feel like that's what trading always is. You're taking the theory, which is, the price should go up, and then the evidence comes in, another candlestick prints, prints. And each of these are pieces of evidence that now you have to decide, can I assimilate that into my theory, or is it blowing my theory out of the water? What's going on here, right?
Or am I going to fight it to the end?
Yeah, exactly. Which is such a beginner mistake, isn't it? We've all been there. Yeah. I'm going to fight it to the end. Yeah, I'm going to move my stop because it's not going to hit it. That sort of thing. Yeah, it's so true.
All right, cool. Thanks, Walter.
Thank you.
All information in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not trading or investment advice.